Welcome to the Pointy End. I'm Keith Sutherland. Today my guest is Bendigo icon and legend, Mr. Brian Cogho himself, affectionately known as Cogho.
Legend and icon. Gee, I like that, Keith. We'll get on.
You probably taught me all these terminologies, and I must say you look resplendent in that beautiful shirt. I reckon someone's dressed you for this.
Well, I went to where you got your shirt and they said, we can do better than Keith, so here I am.
So obviously you've been to see your Peter Anthony.
I have. Beautiful Hayley. Yeah. Hayley is so passionate and it's great, and she can dress an old bloke like me and make me look like this. Well, you're a young bloke.
Now, Cogho, you are the face of 3BO and you have been for many, many years. Followed lots of legends along the way, but how did you get involved in radio and where did it all start?
Started with doing sport with 3CV back in the early 90s, and that was good. It was just a bit part on a Saturday, and I got a bit of the passion came from that, thinking to myself, I can get on the air. And I was always amazed by radio, how you could actually speak into the mic and it could come out the other end through a speaker, and it still amazes me to this day, 20 odd years down the track. So I went to KLFM, which is a community station, and it was good there because it was only on weekends, but had every type of thing you want: country music, jazz. So I got to do all those shows, really old music from the 30s and 40s. So it was a really good experience to go through that, to know all that. And then when I started doing the mainstream stuff, I love my sport still. I decided to get involved at 3CV panelling football in 1995, and then it's a funny story. The first gig that I ever got on air, because I wanted to get on air, took me a year and a half. And the reason for that is because 3 months down the track, the program director came in and he said, look, got your first gig for you. And oh, great, this will be terrific. It's on a Monday, December the 8th, for example, and it's 12 till 3. There's your first gig. And I ran around like crazy going, telling everyone and all that. I got home to the missus and she said, do you realise what the date is? I said, what's that? She said, we're going away. We're at the Gold Coast that week. So I missed my first gig. Took me another 6 to 9 months to get back on again. So I had to wait that long.
So, okay, 3CV, obviously Johnny Forbes was in the
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Back then, and Glenn Ridge, and big names go through that program, and of course you as well. And I didn't. So you grew up in Bendigo basically, and that's all you ever wanted to do?
I got to about 25 and I was told by another announcer that if I didn't get involved in radio, which was my passion, obviously with the sport and that I would leave it too late. So I went to radio school in Melbourne, did a bit of that, did a lot of work behind the scenes, like practicing, bedroom, bathroom, wherever I could, in the car, and then got to a level where I thought I was good enough and I could compete with the other guys that had jobs. So that's where it was. And then 3BO came along from 3CV in the late 90s and did the morning show with your good self a lot of the time through real estate and plenty of other things, and then the breakfast show in 2001 up until now.
Okay. Now, going back to the early days, you said sport, that's how you sort of got to start. Now, does that mean you were a champion sportsman, a star in the early days, and that's what got you interested in sport, or you just loved sport? I know you're very good at Bombers.
I do.
They've sort of been a bit of a downer for the last couple of years, but that's okay. They had a win.
They did, and it was good. I ran around in Smith Street, North Bendigo for about 6 or 7 years, making out I was an Essendon footballer. I always wanted to play AFL. I played juniors at Golden Square in South, but I got to under 18s and I was only a skinny bloke. I know that's hard to believe now, but a skinny bloke back then, and I just couldn't make it. So I would be a frustrated footballer. I still play cricket to this day. I'm not great at it, but I still love to be part of it. So. Frustrated footballer. Yeah, Spring Gully, life member at Spring Gully. I'm very lucky. It's a great club and we've been lucky to win a few premierships along the way. Okay.
Now, with the radio career, you've been a solo person in the early days, 2001 when you started. Do you like being solo, or was it better to be with Beck and Cogho and now Cogho and Ez? What do you like? Because you sort of...
I like the solo is actually harder because of the fact that you have no one to talk to, and being solo is like talking to an answering machine because you're not going to get anything back and you've got to get your point across. So there's a certain skill involved in that as well. But you get to the point where you get to, say, have a co-host, or we used to do a lot of interviews, as you know, what we're doing now, and I found that fascinating with people, you know, and to do it each morning, to get up and to talk to someone else about things that are happening in the news or sport, as you said, and plenty of other things, is a massive challenge every morning, and that's what keeps me going, because I've never nailed it. I've never had a perfect show. And I think the day I do with the co-host, then it's all over, but I certainly haven't had that. But there's always challenges, you know, the things that happen in the news have happened early in the morning. So to have someone else to bounce off and to teach them and help them along the way, especially with Ez now, who's 24 and, you know, been in radio a couple of years, for her it's like, I'm nearly 50 and she's nearly 25. So there's a massive gap, and to teach her along the way is a huge challenge, and it's fun.
I can relate to that because Dennis and I, with our head-to-head,
Yeah,
really
I understand it. Yeah.
Each other, and Dennis gets a lot of things wrong, but that's okay.
Plus, there's a fairly big age difference, isn't there? So
there is a fairly big age difference, but that's right. Not 25 years. I think I'm 25 years younger than him, but not true. Not so. Now, Cogho, we've talked about the radio career, but you're more than that because you've been part of this community. Because I think people underestimate what you do. You're also part of the, as I said, the face of 3BO, but you're part of everything else, and people forget that you don't get paid for all these gigs.
No.
Like you're emceeing this, you're doing that. Only a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to you, Walk for Willow.
Yep.
You Give Me Five for Kids. You just get so involved in so many things. You never say no. You and I have been lucky enough to do so many different fundraising events together.
Absolutely.
What drives that passion? Because it's hard because you can't keep giving work, family life, and also these other things. You probably never say no to people, I dare say.
Yeah, the reason I don't is because I feel as if it was me in that situation, I'd want someone to come to me and say, yes, I can help. And I mean, we've all been in bad situations where that person's come along and said, yep, we can help, we can do this. And you're a prime example of someone that does say yes all the time as well. I've never seen, there's no such thing as a bad cause, they're all good causes. So it's difficult if we have a girl who's suffering from cancer and she's got a couple of kids in the hubby and they're struggling, for me to go, oh, I couldn't say, no, I can't help. I couldn't do that. Because if it was me, then I'd expect someone else to come along and help me as well. Yes, it does take time. You and I know that. It goes till very early in the morning sometime, but I always drive away from there going, I'm really rapt I did that. The day I don't, the day I drive away going, oh, you know, I've had a couple of gigs where people haven't said thank you, and I thought, gee, all you had to say was thank you. I don't want money. But that's rare in Bendigo because Bendigo is such a great community, and I know if I'm in trouble, if I get to the stage where fingers crossed and everything else, I don't get into trouble, touch wood, someone will help me. You will help me. Do you know what I mean? I know that's what the community's like. So I thrive on that. That's what keeps the passion going, is knowing that, you know, the Walk for Willow is a prime example. Here's a guy, one day was told he's the fittest 50-year-old in Bendigo. The next day got a phone call back from the doctor to say he had incurable cancer. I mean, that just, I couldn't imagine what he's going through. And for the guy to have all his supporters around him, I feel like that would happen to us if we were in trouble.
Yeah. As I said before, it takes its toll. Now, you've got 3BO,
Yep.
you've got the sporting stuff, you've got fundraising, all the emceeing you do, but you're also a businessman. So surely that's got to take its toll on trying to spread yourself so thin over all these different areas.
Yep. That's absolutely right. And I think as you get on later years, you realise just how much you should have probably put into business that you didn't. And I've suffered from that lately. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But just sitting down and just having a think about what I did and sacrificed, you know, probably the business and did all these fundraisers. Would I do it again? Probably. Would I get involved in business again? And I'm just about out of the one I'm in at the moment. Probably not. Yeah, it's not. I think I learnt the lesson that if you're in business, you've actually got to be in it, not on the outside of it. You've got to be in it. You got to own it, and I didn't own it, so I made some mistakes along the way. Had some great victories too, don't get me wrong, but some mistakes along the way that you only learn by hard knocks.
And I think that comes with age, maturity, and
absolutely.
You sort of look back and you think, and you're lucky that you've had the support of Donna, your wife, your kids, you've got grandkids now. That gives you a different perspective on life when you get to that stage, and you can look back. And I think I say to a lot of people, I never know exactly what I want, but I know what I don't want.
Correct.
And that sort of comes with maturity, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, the pressures of money's a root of all evil, I'm sure, because everyone wants it and it keeps the world going around. We know that. But, you know, sometimes you can sit down in front of the television with a bag of chips that probably cost you $3 and a can of Coke that costs you $3 and have a great time. You know, you don't need to go to the Crown Casino and have the best meal in the world. You can do these little things that, you know, that matter. And like the gigs we host and that, I mean, they don't cost anything, but you get a good feeling out of it, you know, and it's just part of life that, you know, money doesn't always make you feel great, is what I'm saying.
No. Bendigo is such a caring, giving community, as you both know, and lots of other people just keep on giving, but you're one of the exceptional ones that are out there all the time. Now, what's the future hold for Cogho? Is it going to be part of the same, doing the 3BO, hosting the sporting thing and watching your Essendon course, or is there something on the horizon for Cogho? Because now you've had time to analyse, review where you've been and going, and Is there something in the different, or something in the future that's different, or you're just loving where you've been and what you want to do?
There was an idea back in 2000. I've got a book at home. It says goals for 2000. One of them was to actually go and speak to people about confidence with their speaking and public speaking. And I thought about it 2 years ago, and I said, I need to do this. And it was just an idea in the background, like we all have. We all have ideas. We go, geez, I should do that one day. So the future is a business called Super You, which will teach people how to public speak, speaking with confidence, and also radio. So, and there's nothing like that around. There's no people specialise in that, except if you go to Melbourne. So that will be the future, and I certainly will just be me. There'll be no employees or anything like that, so I can really focus on that. And that's my passion. I love teaching people things, and if I can do that and earn a few dollars on the side, then I'm halfway there.
That's quite ironic you say that, because when I retired from real estate first time around, 2009, I was wanting to go on a speaker's circuit.
Yep.
My topic was grow your brand by giving. And then 6 weeks later, you took over and some tragedy happened in our life and you helped us along the way. It was quite ironic, but that never happened.
Yeah.
And now I'll be 100% backing you in what you're doing, because I think it's terrific that somebody like yourself with those skills, knowledge, is able to give to somebody else. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and the radio thing is interesting, because there's there's so many people that, like when I was in community radio, it was really difficult to get to the next level. There was no one really willing to help. But I think if you can find the link between that and getting into commercial radio, or just being a better person or having a better meeting by the way you speak, then that's the goal we've got.
Now, finally, Cogho, I've got to say, I've really got a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
All the years that I've known you, now, Ez has been away for the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
You've had Lisa Chester's, Gabe on your program.
I know where this is going.
Since I was 14, and I've told you many times this, since I was 14 I wanted to be a DJ and a presenter on a radio program. I never got the call. I've been waiting for that phone call. What the hell happened? What's wrong with me? I know I don't have the voice for radio or the head, but at the end of the day I was waiting for that call. It never happened. Like the ladies instead of myself.
Well, we went to the ladies first. It's interesting because the first 2 text messages I sent out were to Gabriel Richards, who is a superstar with the spirit and great on the radio, and to Lisa Chester's. So the spots were filled straight away. So I didn't get the chance to go to the next one, and you would have been on the list. There's a top 10 and you were there somewhere.
The check's in the mail, so
But look, it's great to have other people's views too on radio as well, and those 2 were great, and you would have been great as well. You and I have spoken many times on the radio about plenty of subjects.
that was real estate in those days. We could talk about politics.
We could.
We could talk about...
No, you could talk about politics. I'll just listen.
Well, Brian, Cogho, as affectionately known, thank you for appearing on the Pointy End. Congratulations to you, your family, and your career. Radio has just been incredible. Your sporting background as well, and what you do for the community, because that really is far and above, beyond the core, what you really give, and you keep on giving. It is absolutely fantastic. So it's a credit to yourself, your family, and everyone else around you, and it's a pleasure to have you on the Pointy End program.
Fantastic. Thanks, Keith.